Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another album review. My name is Christian Eschbach. Hi, everyone. This one is coming hot off the turntable. All right. So, what are we talking about here? We are talking about Chunky Shrapnel from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. First off, I'd like to point out, check out the marbling on this. Both albums, beautiful marbling. Love the marbling. Let's put this away in here. Let's get into check out some of this artwork. It's one thing I love about vinyl. Huge artwork, big artwork. You can see it nice. All right. I'm gonna get my biggest negatives out of the way here first, okay? My biggest negatives are, see how the tracks are laid out on here. You got all the, you don't have all the details, but you got most of the details on here. But you got side A, side B, but you got it laid out on here, okay? Really? Oops. Really? It would have been great. Would have been absolutely great if they would have laid it out the same way on here. Okay, so really quickly, I've never mentioned this before. These are bags that I've recently gotten into for vinyl. Records go in the one side. Vinyl case goes in the other. So the vinyl case on the bottom, so it slides out nice easy. Records go in the top like so. And you're all good to go. It's wonderful. It's all set. Pretty, right? Makes it nice and snug. Now, double vinyl is not as nice as a single vinyl is in there. It moves a lot smoother with a single vinyl. I'm going to leave the vinyls out for the moment while we get into the rest of this review, okay? So if you're up to it, check out these bags. Okay, so as I said, this is Chunky Shrapnel, and this is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I don't know why, but for some weird reason, I thought that this band came out in the 90s. And it appears that they came out in the 2010s. Maybe there was a Jesus Lizard band or something like that. I don't remember, man. I would have swore there was this band. I heard this name in the 90s. Anyways, so if you know where I heard this name before, why I'm thinking it's from the 90s, drop it in the comments below. All right, let's go on to the actual album. All right, so we got 4 sides here, or we got, side A, side B, whatever, for 2 records. Okay, so side 1 of the first vinyl, we got Evil Star, which is just kind of one of those little instrumentally kind of lead-in kind of things like you see normally with Black Sabbath and whatnot. Those little Iommi bits you always get in there. That's what Evil Star is on here, and it works. It starts off the album decent enough. Sorry, I should mention, I had to do a little research on this, okay? Because this is a live album for a movie that they shot, which was supposed to come out in 2020, but got postponed due to the whole thing with COVID and whatnot. So I think if this was a movie, a lot more of it would make a lot more sense to me in certain ways. Because it feels weird that they have just these odd little non-live instrumental parts in here, but if it's part of a live show and this would have been stuff that would have been projected up on the screen as intermission kind of stuff, it would make total sense. All right, so you got Evil Star, which opens it up, which great little intro bit. Then you got The River. The River is this great little jazz number. Totally blew my mind when I heard it first time. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was not expecting this. I was expecting something in the line like, we'll say like King Crimson or something like that. That's what I was expecting from these guys. Seriously, I thought these guys were supposed to be like the 90s version of King Crimson or something. I don't know why I'm thinking this. Okay. One of those Mandela effects maybe? I don't know. Okay. The River I really like. Decent song, kicks it off right. Then it goes into Wah Wah, and Wah Wah goes on for too long. I don't mind wah wah a little bit, but after a point, it just kind of goes on too long, and I just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And it doesn't do much of anything. That's my problem with it going on. Now, this is one of those things where I think I'm gonna have to maybe listen to this one in a digital format. And the reason why I say that is most likely, I could be wrong, but most likely this was recorded in a digital format and then converted to vinyl afterwards. Most likely explanation behind this album. If that is not the case, then they literally recorded it on ancient equipment purposely to make it sound as much as possible like a low end record from the back in the days, a low end bootleg or whatnot from back in the day. Um, the overall sound quality of this reminds me a lot of what a lot of the Alice Cooper, like the new, when Alice reissued Killer, School's Out, Billion Dollar Babies, the second disc had a bunch of live show stuff on it. Um, and this has a quality that sounds like that, where, you know, certain instruments are just not quite there in the mix or whatnot. And I'm wondering if that is an effect of the vinyl or if that is an effect of the recording. And the only way to find out for sure is to actually go and listen to a digital copy. Okay. Road Train finishes off the first side of the second disc, and I like Road Train. I really do enjoy that one. I thought it was really good. I liked how it closed out everything. And the thing about Road Train, for anybody that doesn't know, you know, if you're in Australia, this part you might as well skip ahead. You already know where I'm going with this. If you're not from Australia, you don't know anything about Australia, they don't have a normal rail train system as we in North America would think of it, or in Europe or whatnot. They don't have a rail system like that, okay? For transporting goods and stuff. Instead, they've got these monstrous spans of highway that just go through hundreds of kilometers of absolutely nothingness of desert and whatnot. If you've ever watched Mad Max, man, okay? So these are what the road trains are going through. Not the violence necessarily, but these things are, think of a truck, a semi truck, pulling along. And usually, if you're in the U.S. or Canada, you'll see one for sure. Sometimes you'll see two. If they're really, really short, you might maybe see three, and I think that's usually like in construction areas or whatnot. But these road trains are like four trains or more, four carts or more long. Trailers, that's what I'm looking for. Four or more trailers long. And we're not talking little tiny trailers. Like, these things are huge, man. And that's why they're called road trains. And, it works for me with the song. Okay, moving on. We get to side two. Side two opens up with Murder of the Universe, which is okay, I guess. Didn't do too much for me. The later half of the song did more for me than the earlier half did. Quarantine, I kind of blinked and I missed it. Planet B is imagine the Ramones' Planet Earth 1988 and the Dee Dee Ramone version, which I love. Okay, I've reviewed the song, that's why I'm using this exact version. And great song in its like 2.5 minute rendition. When you crank it up to like 5 minutes or more, and I'm pretty sure it's like 5 minutes or more on here, which is what Planet B is. It's basically, a 5-minute punk song. Well, I like the lyrics, I like the message behind the song, we don't have a Planet B. It's a 5-minute punk song. That's how it sounds on here. Just not working for me. Then you got Parking. Parking. Now, okay. Once again, I'm just gonna quickly show you something here. Okay, this is the only light I have under here is the glow from this, and we're gonna turn that off. Okay. That doesn't allow me to see the lines where you can see like the track separators between each individual track. I don't get to see them that well on there, so it's kind of hard for me to see the exact spots where it's switching over, and I got to go kind of by what I see afterwards or before I put it on. And I actually had to go back and re-listen to Parking and Venusian too, because I got up for 5 seconds to do something and I missed them because they're really short. And Parking, I believe, is just a drum solo. I could be wrong on that because once again, I can't see the vinyl properly while it's playing. So, and I don't got a timer counter, so and not like there's times printed on here. So, I can't tell. It's not. I don't have the modern conveniences of a CD player to tell, exactly what's going on and where. So I'm assuming that Parking is the drum solo, which, as a drummer, I can appreciate a drum solo, and by all intents and purposes, this drum solo works. Nothing wrong with this drum solo. But I'm also a Canadian drummer, and I've been spoiled my whole life by listening to Neil Peart. And because of that, I expect my drum solos to have a bit of a story to them. I expect my drum solos to take me somewhere. I'll be honest, even myself as a drummer, when I play drums and I practice drums, I hate playing by myself until I find that right groove where you can almost hear the story I'm telling within what I'm playing on the drums. And that's kind of where it really, I like a drum solo to go. I like the drum solo to kind of tell a story. And this one, not quite hitting the mark for me for telling a story, but not bad as a drum solo. It's kind of your basic drum solo, That's my biggest issue with drum solos most of the time. Is most of them usually have the fundamental basics of the same, where let's go on the kick drums and then do. Now I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on in here. This is definitely, I enjoy this one a lot more than a lot of live drum solos I usually hear, but this one's like, once again, I've given it a lot more credit than it both deserves, and yet it's not like it should be frowned upon. Okay, moving on from that. Venetian 2, you kind of blink and miss it. And then you finish off the second... Wow, the cat's going to town on the toy back there. See that little paw down there? See that little head bobbing about? That's all that noise you're hearing. Cat's been called out. I really feel like I should just stop recording this here and just let that play. Somehow I feel like everybody might enjoy that a little bit more. Okay, so let's go back to the review here. Okay, folks. So Hell finishes off the second side of the vinyl. And I do enjoy Hell to a small degree-ish. I feel like it takes me on a bit of a trip, but it's kind of, once again, it feels like it's a really long punk song. Then we get to the first side of the second vinyl, and we got Let Me Mend the Past. And whoa, compared to everything else I just listened to, holy crap, man. Total freaking pivot. Like the closest thing to this would be The River. And even that's not like The River, you had that cool, jazz thing going on at the beginning. But you get to this, and this is kind of like that 50s doo-woppy rock kind of thing going on, sort of. And it's just like, whoa, cool, man. The next song, I am not sure how to pronounce this word. Anamensis? Anamensis. Anamensis. I think, maybe. This is another one where I'm assuming it's a soundscape because, I know there's a cool little stuff in there. Folks. Once you get past Let Me Mend the Past, it kind of flows all like it's almost one giant song. Because you got Animensis, Inner Cell, Loyalty, Horology, and they just kind of, the way they flow, it really feels like it's just kind of one continuous song, or maybe it's part of a story out of I don't know any of their stuff. This is literally the first thing I've ever heard from these guys, and I quickly looked up the details on this band before doing this review. Okay, that's my knowledge on this band. And those three, they're good. I like the whole playthrough and whatnot. I was enjoying as it was going. And then you get to the next side and they go totally rush, and the whole next side is one song. A Brief History of the Planet Earth. And this one was really cool. I really, really enjoyed this one. Because it was all over the place per se. You know, like it really felt like a brief history of planet Earth as told by rock and roll. And it was really, really awesome. I really dug it. I really, really thought it was enjoyable. And I know I keep saying really, but I mean, that is the case here. It's, if I had to make a choice on whether or not I would recommend this album, as I have nothing to compare it to, as I've never listened to anything from this band before, it's enough to intrigue me to go check out some of the source material and see how the studio version sounds compared to this. And like I said, I kind of wouldn't mind hearing this on compact disc instead of vinyl. Some artists, I think, do it right when they go from, okay, let's assume that this is a digital recording transferred to vinyl analog, okay? There are some artists that I believe do it properly. Metallica, for example, I bought 72 Seasons on both compact disc and on vinyl. And both of them sound exactly the same coming out of my stereo system for the most part. But Metallica owns their own printing press, or I mean their own, vinyl press, which is also one of the reasons why I bought one of each from Metallica, because if Metallica is going to do anything, they're going to do it with their own stuff, right? Jack White, same situation. Jack White has his own printing press. And very much his press, I went out and bought, I've covered this as well in one of his reviews. I don't remember which album it was now. I bought both the vinyl and the compact disc to compare them to each other. And usually I don't find there's a difference. And Jack White, the reason I mentioned that is Jack would be the one that would record analog and then turn it to digital. Because he's done it before. He did it with the White Stripes. So, if anybody's going to do it, Jack would still be the one to record analog and then convert it to digital, whereas Metallica would go digital and convert it to analog. But both of them do it in a way where you can't tell the difference, where it sounds perfect on both of them coming out of my stereo system regardless. This, though, I have a feeling would sound different coming out of my stereo system on digital than it would on here. And I wish I had a good reason to back that up, and I wish I knew enough about production to explain why I believe that. But it is just this belief that I have. Or it could just be that the recording, like when they actually did the live recording itself, they just did it with as much of a stripped down production as possible to give it as much of an older sound as possible. I don't know. That is, though, my biggest complaint about it would be the sound, the overall sound of the whole album. It sounds too old. That thing that everybody complains about compact discs, especially when CDs first came out. When CDs first came out, you took older albums and they got converted over to compact disc. So what, for the CD listener, would be AAD. The sound quality on AAD was horrible. Because it was just kind of a quick transfer over, no remastering, no fixing sounds, no adjusting production. And usually that means your low ends were kind of your drums were kind of you know, the whole mix was just kind of flat and dead. That's kind of how this album sounds coming off my record player. And once again, I've even recently talked about other vinyl that I've done reviews for. Like compared to putting Tommy on, like I think Tommy was the last one I recorded a review for. Listen to it on vinyl, and it still sounded more lively than this did. So it's not a matter of vinyl, like we're talking an old school original, like original pressing 1975, 76. I can't remember what year it is. Tommy the musical, or Tommy the motion picture soundtrack, okay? Still had a brighter, more defined sound to it than this album did. So I would have to, I gotta listen to it another way. And there are a few songs on here I would be worth checking out. And I would like to hear the studio renditions that I think of all of these songs, really, to see how much I do or don't actually like them. Because it could just be that I don't like live tracks from them. I don't know. Let me know what you think, folks. I've rambled on way too long, but it's a double live, right? So I guess I gotta be entitled here. Let me know what you think. Am I being too harsh? Am I talking about too much? Am I not talking about enough? Whatever. I don't know. That's what the comment section's for. Leave me a line down in the comments. When you're down in the comments, you're going to see in the comments there's a couple links there. Give those links a click. Otherwise, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the little bell for notifications. Helps me out, helps you out. Peace, love, take care.